Yo, welcome to the PHNX Suns podcast. I'm your host, Saul Bookman, along with Flex from Jersey. As always, we don't have everybody else because they're on load management. They're around, trick-or-treating. I think Lindsay hit about 18 houses already in her costume, even though she's, older than everybody else. That's okay. That's all right. The Suns are here to take your L's away if you just happen to be watching that D-backs game, because that is not pretty right now. You should also come hang out with us at the next time we all get to go watch a Suns game together at our next takeover event, which is November 15th versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. Get your tickets right now. They are all available on our site. You get food, you get drink, you get a lower level ticket, all for a good price. And if you're a diehard, it's an even cheaper price. So please come check it out. I don't know how else to lead this all, but the injury report, which is right now, is Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Damian Lee. We've known about Damian Lee for a long time, but we have Devin Booker and Bradley Beal. Flex, there's been a lot of things thrown out on the Twitter spaces in the last couple of days, and you have some thoughts in terms of Bradley Beal specifically.
Yeah, I mean, we keep pounding on this. It's a back injury, right? And there is a timetable for a back injury. There is. It clearly is. And I'm not at the point where I'm worried. I'm just not. I think he's following a timeline. I think the Suns are doing well. And I think that he'll be back in due time. I don't want to go too far into it because I know people are panicking about this. And I just think it's par for the course. You have a back injury. You have a timeline to relax things. And he'll be back in due time. I'm really not too worried.
You know what? Let's just go straight to Frank Vogel in terms of him talking about the fact that there is no timeline for these two individuals.
Don't know. There's no real timetable on that right now. They're working very hard to get back as soon as possible. Both have begun doing some on-court work, but mostly light shooting. So still not sure yet. So,
okay, there's no timeline. He's doing some easy shooting. Okay, cool. But then he said this.
No, I don't think it's really about being cautious. I think he's got an injury that has, a timeline, with his treatment plan to try to get right. And, until that's behind him, then we'll see him out there. But I don't think we're being cautious with it.
What? Didn't he just say there was no timeline and then there is?
Yeah, that's the beauty of this business. That's what we're in. That's the beauty of the business. And so there's a couple things he said. First, he said no timeline. Then he said there is a timeline. And then he said we're not being cautious. All of that tells me a lot of nothing. And it just leads me to believe that the conversations I'm having are accurate. I mean, they're not too worried about the injury, although you make a great point. Is this something that could flare up later? And if that's the case and it's something that could flare up later, then you would be a little more cautious now to try to make sure that it's really taken care of so that it doesn't flare up later.
I mean, honestly, he had this injury in Washington.
Yep.
They knew about it.
Yep.
And so over the course of this summer, I would assume that, he was getting work put on to that back, or at least they were evaluating his back and making sure everything. But even that didn't work because we got to the preseason and all of a sudden that back tightened up again. He was, having spasms and stuff. We saw him in the middle of a game squat down, and I was like, why is Bradley Beal dropping it low? And it was because he was trying to stretch that back out.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, we haven't seen him since.
Right.
And so I'm not worried about right now. I'm worried about when we get to March, April, May, June, when you really, really need him.
Right.
And the games are far more intense than a regular ass preseason game in Detroit against a bunch of scrubs. I don't care about that.
Yeah.
I care about what's it going to look like when we have to play the Lakers in the first round or the Nuggets in the second or third round. That's important.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, listen, if you're asking me, am I worried about the long term? Anytime you hear back, of course. Short term, I'm not worried at all. And I know that's my biggest point. A lot of people are already diagnosing him with a severe back injury that's going to need surgery. That's not the case. But I think it's very smart to be a little bit more cautious now so that we don't have that problem later. And I think that the schedule allows it a little bit. Like, we do have a little bit of a light schedule here. And so I think it's okay to be a little bit more cautious, although he said they're not being cautious. And so we're back into this realm of, what's he saying and what's he really saying? And it's a tricky little thing. But I'm truly not concerned about Brad Beal short term. But I do see your point. If this is something that could continue to happen in long term, yeah.
Well, let's talk about, okay, so we expect Book. What are you hearing about Book?
I think Book is fine. Book has a timeline. We talked about it the other day. I'm thinking it's going to be 2 to 3 weeks, and we've already hit a week today. Okay. He's at the point now where they're going to start revving up. And I'm going to be very upfront. From the conversations I've had, this is just my opinion. No one's going to go out here and say this, but from conversations I'm having behind the scenes, I wouldn't be shocked if we don't see Book until Chicago. Until that, I think it's November 6th in the road on a Wednesday against Chicago, or maybe that Friday night at home versus the Lakers. But I will say this. I think Devin is itching to play right now. And you got to protect him from himself. So Devin's injury is not serious. It's a mild sprain. We're a week into it. Now we have a week of a rev up. And then if that rev up goes well, I think he returns in this timeline, that 2-week timeline. And if he needs the extra week, then you give it to him. But I think Flex is. I just read something there. I think Book is fine, and I think Beal is fine. And here's some. I said this the other day. I think Beal will be back before Book, and I'm not backing off of that. But I wouldn't be surprised if they come back together.
I'd be shocked if Beal was back before Book. Yeah. And I know. We saw the videos of them. Of Beal taking jump shots, and you were kind of laughing. Dude, that's nothing. That's fine. I'm sitting here, I'm looking at it, and I'm just like, I mean, I understand what he's doing, and that's cool. I mean, the shot looks good. That's fine. But I would feel much more comfortable if I saw him like kind of doing some drills, a little bit more movement as opposed to just stationary shooting.
Yeah.
The stationary shooting, listen, I've had back spasms before.
Yeah.
They would come usually about 30 to 45 minutes of me playing ball. That's when everything would start to tighten up. Yeah. And it hurt like a mother. It hurt. Like you could barely even walk sometimes. And so I get it. I'm just hoping that they're able to really pinpoint how to cure this, or at least make it manageable. Because as our guy in the chat said, Ben Simmons did have the same kind of injury, and it didn't turn out so well for him for a couple of years.
Yeah. So here's the thing, though, and again, I with back injuries, I'm very cautious. Ben Simmons needed a microdiscectomy. That's what he ended up getting. A microdiscectomy, for people that may not know the back world, is when your disc is either bulging or herniated, and they have to go in and shave that portion off. That is structural damage. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm being told there is no structural damage. This is a strained back muscle. And I'm also wondering what caused it. Was it a quick movement that caused it? Is it a lack of stability on another muscle? That's the kind of stuff that I'm still kind of trying to figure out. But if there's no structural damage, we can't say Ben Simmons, because Ben Simmons had a structural issue. I mean, he had a clear herniation that needed to be resolved, and I do not think that's what Brad's dealing with.
Okay. All right. That's good enough. Wemby and KD are about to face off, so that's kind of cool. So let's talk about the guys that are actually going to play.
Yeah.
KD versus Wemby. This is the first time Wemby comes to town. Let's take a look at Wemby versus KD. KD's rookie numbers versus Wemby's first 3 games in the NBA. Wemby, not the prolific scorer that KD has been over the course of his career. He'll figure it out, I'm sure. The other day, he only had 11 points. Yeah. But he's still trying to figure out the NBA game. It's not going to come as naturally yet, because, listen, the physicality and just the talent is at a whole nother level.
Yeah. That's impressive, man. This kid's going to be fantastic. So.
He's going to be good. He's going to be good, for sure. I just hope he's not Tim Duncan good. Just be okay. Be okay.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Like, I don't need that in my life.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't either. I think he's going to be terrific, though. I go back to that preseason game against Golden State when he blocked Wiggins. I mean, you know how big Wiggins is. I mean, you're not supposed to get your shot blocked when you're taking it. And he went out there and made that look easy. His length is incredible. I tell you what I do like about him, Saul, is that his game is more mature than I thought it would be coming in from the jump. He doesn't force much. He kind of plays a team game. He fits that San Antonio mode. I'm looking forward to seeing him tonight, man. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Let's take a look at the uniform matchup for the night. As you can see, we have the blacks. I love that. And then the traditional Spurs white. They're going with their icon edition. We're going with the association edition. This is basically what replaced the Valley jerseys, which is
I hate it.
You hate this one?
No, I love that they were, they didn't keep the Valley ones.
You hated that they didn't keep the Valley ones.
Yeah,
same. I think everybody feels the same way. It's just terrible. So, also some huge news happened when we were all about to go to sleep, or we're already sleeping, I should say, last night. James Harden got traded. And Black Sunday, you owe me $100.
Pay up.
$100. Anyway, last night he was traded in a huge trade from the Clippers for Nicholas Batum, Marcus Morris, Robert Covington, and KJ Martin, and draft picks. In addition, PJ Tucker also goes to Philadelphia. I'll tell you what, this is it's a trade that I think a lot of people are kind of mixed on because you don't know what's going to happen. Listen, you're talking about 3 individuals that are injury prone or drama queens.
Great way to put it.
Tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong. No lies detected. I mean, you nailed it. We don't know what this is going to be, bro. No. We don't know. Now, do I think the Clippers got better? Yeah. That's a heck of a deal for them. For them to get PJ and Harden, that's a heck of a deal. How it looks on paper and how it translates on the court and the diva-ness of it and all the other stuff. I'll tell you one thing I'm going to say from the bottom of my heart. Good luck with James Harden in L.A., man. Like, I'm telling you, man, that is not the place for James Harden.
Strip clubs are banging in L.A.
Straight. I'm serious.
I've never been to one, but I just assume.
Yeah.
Ew. That's, I don't know. Listen. My initial impression is it made them marginally better, but they're still, in somewhere in that 7 to 5 range, because of the unpredictability. I think the Clippers specifically need all 3 guys healthy all at the same time to be able to be effective, because I just don't feel like I just feel like they need that, because they're not going to get a lot of scoring elsewhere. But who knows? Maybe they could put it together for one good run and change the whole narrative and give the Clippers their first championship.
That's all it takes.
I don't think so.
That's all it takes. The one thing I will say, too, about this is PG. Like, I'm fascinated with PG. I love his game. I've always felt like PG is better when he's the alpha dog, when he's the top dog. And you see when Kawhi doesn't play, PG turns out. He's a different PG. And then when Kawhi comes back, for some reason, he goes back to reverting to being that PG that's kind of iffy. What happens when you add that third guy? Like, how does that translate to PG's game? And how does that, are we getting, you're not going to get the best version of PG in that situation. So I'm interested to see how it unfolds, but they got better. Okay.
If they get, listen, Harden is kind of past. He's on the back end of the hill. Yeah. But he's not washed. He's still got game. Yeah. He's proved that last year in the playoffs. But how much of that game and when is it going to show up is the key point. He's starting to venture towards Chris Paul territory, where now you got to be smart. Yeah. You got to take care of your body. James Harden has not taken care of his body from time to time, especially in protest and wanting to leave a city. So I don't know what kind of shape he's in. The trade is still not NBA official yet.
That's facts,
so I'm sure that's because they're waiting on physicals for everybody, make sure everybody's good to go. But it's going to be something. So before we get into our bets of the day, obviously BetMGM Sportsbook is the GOAT of sportsbooks. Make sure you put your money down today, $10. And right now the offer is place your first BetMGM Sportsbook wager through BetMGM on the Sportsbook mobile application of at least $10, and you will receive $200 instantly in additional winnings, regardless of your wager's outcome. That's easy money. It's free money. Use that promo code PHNX to do so, people. Please do it. Please do it. Listen,
it's common.
Like, for us to give free money away, we have to get something in return, and that's just you putting $10 in the app and building those great habits of success. Because I'm about to find a heater in our league or whatever this is. This bet challenge that we have. I promise you, folks, if you just follow me for the rest of the season, I will not let you down.
Follow me, guys. Don't get caught up in that.
You can the defending champion right here. Okay?
I'm coming for you, dog.
Sign up for BetMGM using promo code PHNX. Place your first BetMGM sportsbook wager. As I said, $10, $200. Now check out the show notes for full details. And now listen to Shane talk about the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., New York, or Ontario.
All right, folks. As I said, the bets are all about to be unveiled. First, let's talk about the favorites for tonight. So we got our betting favorites. The Suns are, that's a wrong graphic. The Suns are 6.5 point favorites tonight against the Spurs. So it should be minus 6.5 versus the Spurs at a plus 6.5. Don't take the Spurs. Don't take the Spurs at that minus 6.5 because it's not going to happen. Okay. And then who do we all got? Who do you got, Flex, tonight?
I got a nice little parlay. Is it gonna?
No. This one.
Oh, I got Suns by 8.
Yeah, I got the Suns by 8 as well. Espo's got the Suns by 11. Gerald's got the Suns by 10. And Lindsay ate too many pieces of candy while trick-or-treating to give us her picks for the night. So we'll see how that goes. All right.
Here we go.
Let's go. What's your bet for the night?
I got a nice one that's going to hit tonight. Josh would have got me last night. We got it. I think I got Suns money line. Okay, Suns to win money line.
Damn it, 8-leg parlay.
Yep, under 225.5. Katie to score 20. Gordon to score 10. Goodwin to score 5+. Okogie to get 10. Nurkic 8 rebounds. And KD 2 little assists. I'm banging that one out tonight, so okay. You watch.
Don't ever use that phrase with me again. Yeah, I don't know about all that. We'll see. That's a lot of things that need to go, but those are reasonable things that you can see happening. My bet is pretty simple. It's a 4-leg parlay. I got the alternate spread at Suns at 7.5. Okay. I got Kevin Durant at PRA at 35. I got Eric Gordon, a PRA of 20, and I got Grayson Allen, a PRA of 16, because I'm all in on Grayson tonight. I think that's a pretty simple bet. Let's hopefully that wins. I'm not going to jinx it. Let's take a look at Lindsay's bets. Lindsay, 2-leg parlay, total points. She has the under. I don't think that's going to hit. And she has the spread Suns by 6.5. I think they're going to go over in the points tonight.
You think?
Yeah, because San Antonio's been giving up a lot of points.
They have. I saw that.
So that's just kind of how I'm feeling about that.
Okay.
And then finally we have Espo's picks. Espo has a 3-leg parlay, player points, and Kevin Durant over 29.5. So he thinks KD's going to have 30.
Okay.
Total points 225 over, and then he has the spread, alternate spread as well at 7.5 as well, plus 400. So just a reminder: go to the BetMGM Sportsbook app to place any of those bets and win alongside your homeboy right here. Okay. Last thing before we go, what are you looking forward to tonight? Like what players do you have your eyes on?
I'm looking at EG. Eric Gordon again tonight to shoot a lot of threes. I think he's going to get plus 3 threes tonight. I'm intrigued by how we're going to guard Wemby. I really am.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. I mean, is tonight the Metu night?
I mean, you have to think.
He moves around. You can chase him around out there.
I think so.
I think that might be. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
I mean, listen, I'm fascinated to see Wemby, a full game of Wemby. I've seen him in spurts here and there. I've seen him for like a quarter and stuff like that. But now I get to see him full on, and I'm intrigued.
Can I ask you?
Go ahead.
Wemby versus Bobo. You want to see that?
I'm not gonna lie. Yes, I do want to see Wemby versus Bobo.
That'd be interesting.
I mean, that's just like there's like two of those like those big things that they stick outside of like the barber shop, and it's like the wavy fucking things. It's like two of those dudes just going against each other. You know what I mean? Like
that's a good one.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm actually looking forward to seeing how Grayson Allen bounces back from his last game. He had a good game last time out. I thought he played very well. Especially in that third quarter, he really picked it up, hit some threes. I want to see, can he continue that and keep it a trend and just be consistent? It's not going to be an easy game, obviously. We know that. Jeremy says Spurs aren't pushovers. We know that. Nobody in the NBA is a pushover. Like, you got to play. But I did like the chemistry of the team last time out.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to seeing that. I would like to see KBD get a little bit run.
Yeah.
I feel like we haven't got a lot of that, and I don't know why. But when you got a guy like Wemby, you got some crazies like, Jeremy Sohan.
Yeah.
Johnson's one of the better guards in the NBA. He's playing very well. He's a leading
Keldon's
scorer
nice,
right now. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
I think KBD is a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, this is Spurs.
Revenge game, baby.
Yeah,
Let's
it's the
go.
Spurs. And he knows their system. He knows the players a little bit. He might be able to match up with somebody like Keldon and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting.
I hope so. But the most important thing is where to watch this game. You can watch this game on Arizona's Family TV. It is our favorite place to watch these games. You can also watch it on YouTube or via the Fubo app. But Arizona's Family, wherever you live in Arizona, visit azfamily.com and click Suns Games for listing information for your area. Great resource to help you find your Phoenix Suns games on Arizona Family Sports. Listen, you got an antenna. That's all you need. All the local channels are there for you. Check them out. Watch the game. Have fun. More importantly, join us for the post-game show. We'll be back right after the game. No more than 10 minutes. That's the challenge I put to our producer back there, Eric Ruby. But until next time, we'll see you after the game.
We all silly like the mayor.